we're doing?
Yeah, so this TAS that I prepared here is Banjo-Kazooie. A lot has happened in Banjo-Kazooie since the published TAS of 2016. Oh, geez, did not mean to stop that. So, yeah, this is going to be a play around TAS, so I'm not going to be beating the game. This also starts from save RAM, so I've already got a file here set up with everything that I want to do. Sorry, I will actually be beating the game, but this isn't like a traditional start to finish TAS. This is just showing off a whole bunch of different glitches in this game. Oh, go on.
I was just acknowledging. I believe that there's a new task in the works, right?
Yeah, sort of. It's really hard to TAS this game though, so we'll see. But I would
That's fair.
like to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
There's these glitches called bit clips, and they're really, really precise. So I use position hacks to get them in this TAS, just putting that out there. But everything you're about to see is theoretically possible in a TAS setting. Not much of it is possible by humans. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
All right.
Well, I think we're ready to go. Just take it away.
Awesome. So, yeah, watch through the little intro here. The file that I've set up basically has the whole game complete. So we're going to do a few little things. I'm going to be going to dip into a lot of different levels, and we're going to see a wide range of glitches from the game. Some of which are TAS only, and then other things are just really cool things that you don't normally see in speedruns. Morning, Asmi. One thing that you'll notice is that we're playing on PAL, and that's really important for the bit clips that are coming up. If you're not familiar with what a bit clip is, then it's going to be the very first glitch in the run. So I'm just going to let it happen, and then I'll explain it a bit later on. There we go, 50 note door skip.
Okay.
Yeah. So big clips can happen like anywhere. I will explain them, but there's a lot more happening in this next screen that I want to talk about first. So what we're going to see now is a teledive, which happens when two water planes are right above each other. You just zip down to the next one. If you're out of bounds when that happens, you void out. This is a cool glitch here where you can stay underwater by firing eggs. That's the only spot that I know of where that can happen, and it's to do with how it slopes down. We're going to do another bit clip to get into Treasure Trove here. This one's a bit easier because we can just ground pound through the ground rather than trying to fall out with a jump and flutter back in. So there's two very distinct types of bit clips. The one that I did to get into Treasure Trove Cove is technically possible RTA. The 50 note door skip, pretty much no way that's happening RTA.
Okay.
Alright, first glitch we're going to see in Treasure Trove Cove is a skew glitch. So it has to do with the leaky cutscene. I'm going to swim underneath the water and face downwards when the cutscene starts. Now the cutscene drains the water, but it doesn't go through the proper process to get Banjo out of the water. So his facing angle's still going to be facing downwards or sideways. And there's not much use for this glitch apart from just seeing a bunch of weird looking animations.
Does Banjo have F boots?
Yeah. My favorite is climbing. Yeah. Now, there is one minor use for it, which we'll see. Because his hitbox is tilted, you can poke his nose through walls and grab stuff. So upcoming is a lockup with a bunch of notes in it. We actually don't need to go into the lockup. We can just use his nose to grab the notes. And there we go. Getting into Talon Trot ruins the glitch, so there we go. Anyway, so that glitch wouldn't be useful to getting into like a loading zone, because if you want to touch a loading zone like a door, your coordinates actually have to touch the loading zone. But it's useful to grab objects like notes or jiggies. It's similar to like the Gobi's Valley Witch Switch jiggy grab, where you shoot an egg through the coffin. Alright, I'm going to get all the eggs in this chest, every single one of them, and I'm even going to show you that I've got all the eggs in this chest. Now, the devs put an out-of-bounds egg just underneath this chest, so I'm going to show you that with a bit clip here. Just a casual bit clip, why not? And we should be able to see it soon. There we go. So that's the only out-of-bounds object that I know of in BK, and it's kind of weird that it's there. It's well underneath all the other eggs. It's very strange. I checked the other chests and they don't have any out-of-bounds stuff underneath them. There's a few ways to get to it. Sorry?
So specific.
Yeah, it is. There's a few ways to get underneath the chest. You could use the B or you could fly out of bounds, but that's just the quickest way to do it there. It is a nice egg. We're setting up a glitch coming up here. Jiggy despawn glitch. So I'm going to grab this Jiggy inside Ember, and I'm going to die with the Jiggy in my hand. What that does is it's expecting to do a Jiggy dance. So Kazooie is supposed to eat the Jiggy, and then it deletes that Jiggy object from memory. Now the game is still holding in memory. It's like, hey, this Jiggy object, you got to delete it when the dance is done. But now that I've changed the map, it's no longer pointing to that Jiggy, because we're in a different map. It's pointing to a totally different object. So this glitch won't pay off until we're in Bubble Gloop Swamp, but oh boy, when it does, it's going to be good.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to it now.
Ring Rush, that is a very good question. Maybe we will. I don't feel like finding a setup for that bit clip though. Yeah, coming into Bubble Gloop Swamp, we do have an RTA setup for the bit clip in here, but the TAS setup is going to be much, much faster than what we do in RTA, because we don't have to go and swim out of bounds here. Basically, what's happening with these bit clips is there are very, very tiny gaps in the floor that you can get through if you're right above the gap there. Alright, first thing I want to talk about in Bubble Gloop Swamp is longer forwards, backwards, long trot, which is a glitch adaptation that I found of a Chronic Keys glitch. We'll just watch it here. So what happens there is when you hit the ground with enough speed, it thinks that Banjo's head is like colliding with the ground, and it triggers this fail-safe mechanism that puts him to the edge of a floor triangle. Now, Bubble Gloop Swamp's floor is made up of massive floor triangles that span almost across the whole level, so it spits him to the nearest edge, which happens to be over by Flibbits. I think it's a bit further than that, but the little slope leading up to Flibbits stops him. Okay, now we're finally going to see the payoff of that Jiggy despawn glitch. So I'm going to grab Wading Boots here. Now, keep your eye on the crocodile head in the background. Gone. Absolutely gone. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. And we can just walk around in there. Unfortunately, you can't get into the loading zones because they're crocodile only. So even though we can touch where the loading zone was, it doesn't work. Yeah, and that just happens to be a really big object that we can despawn. Usually you despawn like a Mumbo token or something small like that. I finally killed Vile, yes, Ring Rush.
we did it.
Yeah, so what happens, we grab that Jiggy in Treasure Trove Cove and it's saying, hey, delete this object when the Jiggy dance is done. We changed map so that object was no longer pointing to a Jiggy, it was pointing to the crocodile head object. And then when we grab the Jiggy, it's like, hey, the dance is over because you didn't even have a dance, so let's delete that object. The reason I had to grab it in Wading Boots is because that glitch only works if you don't have a Jiggy Jig dance. So I grabbed the Wading Boots so that Banjo wouldn't do a dance. If you do get a normal dance, then it sets the object to the correct value at the start of the dance, so you wouldn't get a despawn glitch. And that's why we don't see the despawn glitch happening during runs, because like runners grab the Jiggy in the TTC Sandcastle and then they die, which sets up a despawn glitch. But the next one that they grab in Clanker's Cavern in 100%, they have a Jiggy Jig dance with it. And despawn glitches can be really, really bad, because if you're not pointing to a valid object in memory, it actually just crashes the game. So most times that'll happen. And an Xbox Sandcastle percent route, which is like any percent, used to have a route that caused a despawn glitch to happen, and it crashed the game most of the time. We couldn't figure out why. That's what led us to figure out the despawn glitch. Yeah, that's pretty funny. It's yeah.
Why is the game crashing?
Yeah, people always get it with meme categories when they just come up with random routes and it just happens to have like a despawn glitch routed into it, because it's pretty easy to do. Now, there's a very small gap in the wall here. Just big bomb through it. Why not? And I thought what would be a fun idea for this glitch exhibition is to show off getting all the stop and swap items that we can get that don't involve entering the cheats into the sandcastle. So this will be the first out of 2 that we're going to get here, which is the blue egg. There's heaps of different ways to get this. We could use the bee to get out of bounds, and there's also heaps of different beak bomb spots to clip. And you could probably do a bit clip to get into here as well. But yeah, there's 1 out of 2. All the other stop and swap items don't actually spawn in until you enter the cheats. So it's likely that these two, this and the ice key, will be the only ones we'll ever be able to get without cheats. But there's still something cool you can do. So I should talk a bit about, I guess, how bit clips work and the 2 different types of bit clips while we got some time. So you'll notice 2 different types of bit clips. There was one where I ground pound through the ground, and there's one where I just jump into the ground and then kind of flutter underneath the ground, and then, for example, with the 50 note door, come up on the other side of it. So yeah, those are the 2 different types. The ground pound one's a possible RTA, but the fluttering under the ground, so that requires a really specific jump height, and what you need is a lot of speed when you hit the ground, which allows you to get through in 1 frame. Otherwise, the floor spits you out. Also FP early. So you have to play on PAL, and you have to get a lag frame on the exact frame that you hit the ground, and you have to hold jump for a specific number of frames to get those type of bit clips. So yeah, they're really difficult to get, but they are possible in TAS. The hardest part is getting the lag frame. We're going to see another very minor glitch here, getting the token inside this dude. So yeah, that was a snowball hitting me into him, which gives you invulnerability and allows you to pass through there. I suck at routing, so I'm going to have to get a backup extra life here. But yeah. And next to Wazza, we're going to see the next one of those TAS-only style bit clips that can skip walls. So I'm going to poop eggs to get a lag frame here. And point my camera towards the laggy level. And you get through. And those are PAL only as well. And TAS only. You can do those style of clips RTA and TUI, but that's because the collision behaves differently. I think it was like 8,000 hyper. But I used position hacks to get the big clips, so if I'd done that like all super formally, then it would have been a lot more re-records. But yeah, everything that you're seeing here is theoretically possible in the real game. Alright, coming up next is a glitch called Cauldron Cutscene Overlap. So it's when you overlap 2 cutscenes in this game, and when those cutscenes are trying to show you something in a different room, you overlap 2 of them at the same time, and the game kind of freaks out, and it warps you to like one of those 2 rooms. So we're going to hit the blue cauldron, and we're going to ground pound straight through and hit the pink cauldron, both at the same time before the blue cauldron cutscene starts. You can do this by flying out of bounds, but we're just going to use a bit clip.
Of course we are.
Side effect here is the music. So, yeah. The exciting thing about that glitch is you'll notice I didn't even pop up next to the blue cauldron. I popped up right in front of Rusty Bucket Bay. That's something called the default exit, which is when a map doesn't know which loading zone to put Banjo in front of, it just puts you at the default exit. So what's really exciting is the cauldron next to the 810 door. In that 810 note door room, the default exit is right next to Dingpot, which sends you up to Grunty. So if we could do that cauldron glitch with the cauldron in the Furnace Fun /810 room, we could actually get a free 810 note door skip and a free Door of Grunty skip. But since there's only one cauldron in Furnace Fun, there's no known way to get that overlap glitch. But it is a theory on how to get 810 skip RTA.
That would be sick.
Yeah, that's right, Ring Rush. You have to pre-activate the cauldrons. Alright, here's Furnace Fun skip TAS version.
Don't the walls on these tiles go super high up? Is that what you're using?
Yeah. And the corners, you can kind of stand on the corners. It's really weird. Me and Hyper found that like 2 months after the 100% TAS came out. It's pretty funny. Alright, here's 810 skip. Using the cauldron text box there for a lag frame, very important. And that saves like 25 minutes and an 80% TAS. Alright, I always used to wonder what was behind this door, so I figured I'd show it off in this glitch exhibition. Lag frame from pooping the egg on the enemy. There's nothing behind this door.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah. My theory is they put the hallway back there for the cutscene, because Klungo comes out of it during the Beauty Machine cutscene. Classic dog skip there, shout outs to Chronicies. Alright, last thing we're going to do is the grunty fight. You'll notice the movement's been pretty janky in this TAS. I did all the movement by hand, and I just TAS the really important stuff. But the grunty fight, will be able to use some really precise egg aiming to speed it up a bit. There's a few cool things to see in here, but mainly I just want to finish off the glitch exhibition nicely. Alright, there's a glitch in this flying section where you can pretty much ground pound Grunty rather than trying to hit it with a bunch of big bombs. One ground pound is easy enough to get RTA, but you can get a double ground pound in TAS. This is in the published 100% TAS as well. But yeah, it's pretty hard to do. So that saves some feathers. It also is just a whole lot quicker than beak bombing her. I was hoping nobody would notice the German text. Okay, I didn't feel like tazzing that Furnace Fun skip again, because it's like really hard to do. So I pulled the video there from an old Sandcastle % Taz that I made that had Furnace Fun in there. So yes, it was a little bit spliced.
Spliced. Fake.
But aren't all Tazes spliced? I'll repeat again, everything you see here is theoretically possible. You might also notice that I had 2 lives in Furnace Fun, even though I actually have 0. Alright, hitting Grunty with all the Jinjos at the same time causes her to fall off the other side of this pillar. It's pretty weird. But you can manipulate the Jinjos because they always fly above your head. Alright, we get a glitch coming into the Jinjonator cutscene coming up. Rocket Banjo. So with a ground pound, you get 1 frame where you're moving upwards really quickly. And if that happens when the cutscene starts, that upward speed carries into the cutscene without you having the down that you would normally get. Now, normally you'd have to end inputs early in a TAS, but I have some room to play around here. That sound that you're hearing is me actually interacting with Grunty's shield there. And she's not pushing me out because my movement is locked. Thanks, Cool Hand Mike. This will be up on YouTube as well later on today. I already uploaded it, it's just unlisted at the moment. And I'll do like a more formal commentary version as well.
Nice. Yeah, man, this was great. I love how I don't know, just the ridiculousness of you just. All right, well, I'm gonna go to the floor now. All right, whoop.
Yeah, definitely. The game has got super broken over the last few years. It's really exciting to see where it's going, and other stuff like Tui has got so much more potential as well.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I'm doing my best to sort of keep an eye on what's been going down. So I'm trying to stay in the loop because there's definitely been some really cool just clips and crazy new bugs and things. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's hard to keep up to date with it because often it's just like a message in the BK Discord saying a new glitch has been found rather than a big showcase like this. So it's nice to put something together to show off what's happened in the last 4 years.
Absolutely. Okay. Any final thoughts?
Shout outs to Hyper and Cow Guy and Isotage and Mittens and Ringrush and everyone else that I've forgotten. There's heaps of BK scientists at the moment. It's really good.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
There's too many people to keep track of.
Yeah. And thanks for
All
having me.
right.
It's been really good to share this off.